Hey fam, what's good? What's good? I hope that you're all well and keeping safe. Welcome back to another one. Welcome back to another one. I hope you all had an amazing week. I hope you all are ready for this coming week as well. Right, before we're gonna start off this one, let's just have like a quick recap, or you know what, just an outlook on why we have certain things at where they are, right? So I will advise you guys to go back to our previous breakdown, the 7th of June 2025. Right, we basically boxed out this beautiful area of supply right over there. We did find ourselves boxing out this area of demand as well as this area of demand, right? I'm gonna keep this on my chart as it is. So if you wonder why these areas are here, you know what, just go back to our breakdown on June the 7th 2025. Guys, also make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe button, right? So all we basically wanted to see price do is ultimately come into our point of interest, have somewhat of a shift back towards the downside, back into our area of demand for a potential further continuation move back towards the upside. Right now, let's tap to the live market and see what do we currently have, right? And we can see that we did find ourselves tapping within our area of supply right over there. We did find ourselves coming all the way back down, back into our area of demand as well. And as we can see, right, with current PA, we are currently in somewhat of an actual range bound market, right? We are somewhat stagnated within this little zone we have right over there. Okay, so what can potentially happen for this up and coming week? So what me Diego will find myself doing is simply remove this area of supply, right? Simply because this is an actual area that is now tested. So you know what, we don't look at it as, you know what, having much of significant no more, right? So let me go to my weekly time frame and see what is happening right over here. So we can see that we had a nice little bullish closure, right? And this candle can indicate that, you know what, we can see somewhat of an actual shift back to the downside and then have that further continuation move back towards the upside. Keep in mind that overall market sentiment is still bullish when it comes down to the NASDAQ, right? And as each and every single one of you know, for those who has been listening and has been following me, all I'm doing is moving with market structure. And you know what market sentiment is basically telling me. Market sentiment, I am using the COT report data, right, and see where our non-commercials are finding themselves placing their monies, right? Is it long, is it short? Guys, don't forget that, you know what, we also do have our points of interest below price right over here as well. This gap needs to be filled, right? But does price allow us to, you know what, be like, hey, we need to see that further continuation push back towards the downside? Are we bearish? No, not just of yet, right? So when we have that change in market structure, this is when we can be like, okay, cool, the next point of interest could be this gap we have found ourselves creating right over there, or just simply that BOB. All right, but as if now we still have bullish market sentiment. So you know what, our buy side liquidity, our all-time highs, that is basically a target where I would then like to see the Nasdaq find itself heading back into. Okay, so looking at our daily time frame, on our daily time frame, we can see that, you know what, we are having these lows coming through right over here. And you know what, in my eyes, those lows, they are quite relatively equal, right? So what I will find myself doing is removing this large area of demand, or BOB, we find ourselves boxing out, right? And just work with what we currently have on the charts right over here. So what I will find myself doing is the following. I'm gonna box out this area just like that, and I'm gonna mark it off as equal lows. Okay, I'm gonna mark off this whole area as having some equal lows coming through. This will basically include that low, this low, and that low right over there as well, right? Basically saying that we do have liquidity resting below these areas right over here. And as we can see, we do have an area of demand coming through as well. Even if we can't get out our Fibonacci, right, we can see that we are having some beautiful pullback, impulse, pullback, or correction, impulse, right? So we can get out our Fibonacci from our low in our bullish format to our high, which is right over there, right? And we can see that our, you know what, 0.79 area is also lining up with our area of demand. So if we can see a deep pullback back into our area of what is this, a discount or a premium area? A discounted area, right? So if we can see a deeper pullback within our discounted area, this could be a beautiful area of, you know what, or a point of interest to where we can see the Nasdaq then have somewhat of a potential shift back towards the upside, right? But ultimately, since we can see that we are having those equal lows coming through, right, this is the area, this is the box that I will find myself having, you know what, marked out as the actual area to where I would love to see the Nasdaq find itself coming back into, as this is what, serving as a area of discount, right? Price is basically cheap when it comes down to this area right over there. You know what, just to make it simple for each and every single one of you. Now, I don't really have much of an actual, I don't have an actual, what do I call it, a point of interest within this area right over here, right? So once I don't have an actual point of interest, all I can simply find myself doing is the following, right? All I can do is wait for price to potentially come back into this area, right? Then have somewhat of a change in market structure before looking for my actual long opportunities, right? That's the only thing I can find myself doing when it comes down to me not having an actual point of interest, you know what, that is untested, right? We can currently find ourselves boxing out this area over here, mark it off, right? And mark it off as an actual area of demand as well, right? Right over there, because we can see we tapped into it, we had some rejection, had some rejection, had some rejection, we came back up into it, right? We find ourselves coming back above, we had somewhat of a retest, we had somewhat of an actual shift back towards the upside. So this area is quite significant when it comes down to price as well, right? But you know what, since it is already a tested area, you know what, I'm not really putting too much emphasis on it. But you know what, it is an area you can just simply find yourself having on your charts and just simply wait for somewhat of a rejection within this area for a potential further continuation move back towards the upside, right? Because guys, keep in mind, what I'm basically doing is, you know what, first of all, I'm also a learner of the market, right? I have the exact same information as each and every single one of you, right? I don't have more information than you, I don't have less information than you, if I can say that right? But you know what, just by doing some backtesting, practicing, you know what, participating, these are tips that you are going to find yourself picking up, you know what, while you are on your journey, right? And I am simply trying to find myself installing that independent mindset within each and every single one of you who think that, you know what, you cannot find yourself doing this thing, right? And I want you to know that I'm also here with each and every single one of you learning, right? And I'm literally showing each and every single one of you what I am looking out for, how I am looking at certain things as well, right? As inside this industry, we do know that many people just come to the charts afterwards, right? After they have already found themselves being like, oh, I found myself buying right there, right? Not giving you a reason to why they actually did find themselves buying or selling at a certain area. But I'm giving you guys an outlook beforehand, points of interest beforehand, and all you have to find yourself doing is study these areas, right? And try and find yourself participating within those areas as well, right? Me, I'm not regulated. I can't find myself being like, you know what, you should be buying price, you should be selling price, right? But I can find myself showing you what I have in store, right? And what I'm finding myself having my eye out on whatsoever, right? And you on the other side, on your own risk, right? You are going to find yourself doing what you need to find yourself doing. And what is the best way to learn? Best way to learn is to literally just go back, rewatch all our other content, right? And you will see our points of interest are getting tapped into. Something is happening right over there. Is it random? Ask yourself that question. Is it random? Is it really random, right? And yeah, you know, just simply learn from it. Okay, learn from it. That's ultimately all I'm trying to say. Learn from what we are basically doing, right? And looking at my stats, right? Those who are finding themselves watching is not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that we can find ourselves pushing this content to more like-minded traders just like you. Do not gatekeep. All right, so on the Nasdaq, right, overall outlook is still longs, right? But if we can see that actual push back towards the downside, or that pullback finding itself happening, right, we do want to see it at least come back into this area so that we can find ourselves having that beautiful longs coming through, right? We have a busy week when it comes down to fundamentals as well, right? So we can potentially see that first shift to the upside, then come all the way back down, then have that shift back towards the upside, right? But ultimately, you wait for price to come back into your points of interest first, and then only you find yourself participating or reacting with what price has installed for each and every single one of you. So this is basically my outlook when it comes down to the Nasdaq, right? I could be right, I could be wrong. Either way, I'm still gonna find myself learning, right? And I want each and every single one of you to learn with me as well, right? Make sure to go to my IG as well at Takeover Forex Institute, and you know what? Hit a follow over there as well. Till next time, it's me, your boy D. Make sure to trade safe, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. I'm out.